Greatest Cards of All Time podcast number 28. Let's talk about Sam Zoldak. This one specifically today from 1952. Topps, very iconic set. This one happens to be number 231 in the set. Samuel Walter Zoldak, an interesting baseball player, and I'm kind of excited to talk about him today. This card is slabbed in, may I say, very good, excellent condition.
I laugh every time you say it. Anytime, I know that's what it's called, but I just laugh. Sorry.
It makes a 4 miscut in this situation sound a little bit nicer and a little bit more of a quality card. But like I said, very excited to talk about this player, Philadelphia Athletics pitcher, mostly known as, and that kind of brings in that logo again, the old school Philadelphia Athletics elephant logo. One of your favorites, I think.
It's interesting.
Just kidding.
I do like it, actually. It's just so odd. Now, this is an actual red back, so this is number 231 in the set. And this is, I believe, Series 2. So in Series 1, you did have a black back and a red back. But by the time that Series 2 came out, it was only red backs. And the thing is, the black backs were the ones that were early on in the Series 1. And then once they got things fine-tuned a little bit, they went to the red back. They had better picture quality. And then by the time Series 2 came out, they were all actually the red back.
Right, so some are a little bit more rare than others as far as the backs, and then some are more sought after as well.
Right, yeah. So, like, if somebody's trying to complete every single variation of a 1952 Topps, then they try to get the red back and the black back typically in the Series 1.
It's super cool. I love 52 Topps, and especially the more we look into it.
Right. I mean, it's cool because, yeah, you can see that they're figuring things out while they go. So, you know, that's cool about it. As far as actually the player himself,
Sammy boy,
he didn't play all that long. I believe it was 1944 to 1952. Is that what you have also?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I have found in my investigation as well. 9 seasons in the majors. So, I mean, what's the average major league career? Maybe 3 years. So,
yeah,
still nothing to scoff at a little bit. And, you know, he was a pitcher, and this was these are the early days of baseball, people. That's really what I like to accentuate when we're talking about these guys. The stats are going to be completely different.
Right.
These guys were pitching plenty of complete games, you know.
And his ERA,
leave him out there.
It didn't seem that bad. I mean, I don't know necessarily what the average or well above average was for that era, but his ERA was 3.54, which doesn't really seem that bad.
It's not that bad. You're not going to be up for any Hall of Fame inductions or anything.
No.
But once again, an early time in baseball, pitching was completely different. So
true.
You could call this man a stud. 9 seasons in the majors with the Braves, Indians, and the Athletics. So he definitely has experience. He had his time in the majors, and he captured himself a World Series title as well.
Yes, I believe, was he traded mid-season from one of the worst teams to obviously one of the best teams, I believe.
He was traded mid-season, yes.
As far as his overall record, I believe he was 43-54. His career WAR was 10.5. Like you said, he played 9 years professional ball.
Yeah, pitched 250 games. I have him here at 43-53, so just one game off. We're accurate anyway.
We've had that before where, you know, Baseball Reference might be a game off of some other site. And I usually go to Baseball Reference, but we have noticed that there's sometimes a game or two off.
Definitely seen that. I do have him at a 3.54 ERA.
Okay, that's the same as...
And, 30 complete games, 5 shutouts.
Do you have the year that he was in the playoffs, or they won? He said he was on the World Series team, or
he was a World Series champion in 1948 after he was traded to the Cleveland Indians. Sam Zoldak, like we said, 9 seasons in the majors, so he definitely has some hair on his chest, so to speak. He played from 44 to 48 with the St. Louis Browns. Then that trade that we were talking about earlier, 48 to 50 with the Indians, so he won his World Series during his time with the Indians there, specifically the season he was traded halfway through. Then 51 to 52 with the Philadelphia Athletics, so that reflects the 1952 Topps card we're taking a look at right now.
So this card that we're going to look at, this was his last
This was his
card?
last season, his last baseball card.
Or at least as a player.
As an active player, yep, 1952 was his last year here, as we're featuring here on the Philadelphia Athletics. 52 was his last big league year, so super cool guy. Not a Hall of Famer or anything, nothing crazy. And when we do take a look at the card, it is kind of out of focus. You do have a 1952 Topps baseball book, too, we've looked through.
Right.
And the pictures in there also show it out of focus. So
Right.
it might be a 1 in a million thing that you find one in focus, or that's just how they are all printed. And I'm assuming that's how they're all printed.
Yeah, I'm kind of
with
surprised
the dot jet printer. Or whatever.
They didn't comment on that. One thing that they did comment on in the book, at least in Series 1, is that typically the cards that had the red back also had a higher quality photo. So we previously mentioned the black back were the ones that were first produced. Then they went to the red back, and I believe it was all cards from 1 through 80 actually had both of those versions. But ultimately, when they figured out the red back, they also had the photography better, so the picture was clearer. So it is a little odd to see this card and look at it. I think you're probably right. Maybe
I think it's
the
like
picture itself was out of. I don't know. Maybe they didn't have a lot of options.
The picture they submitted was, yes, out of focus, I believe. Every specimen that I've seen
Same.
of this 52 Topps Sam Zoldak is the same and looks out of focus. Other than that, you do get his name outlined with a, what do you call that? The hot light bulbs of Hollywood,
Okay,
right there.
yeah, right.
Like a marquee banner.
Yep.
Classic 1952 Topps, and then you get a reflection of his signature as well. Pretty cool guy, and a pretty cool card, and a really cool set.